Hey everyone, it's Andrew with Defiant Tactical Accessories here, and today I'm going to go over a couple of my favorite rifles. Just some very brief thoughts, but mostly I want to get along to kind of some options that we have for carrying equipment for them. So what we're going to do is I'll kind of switch the camera over here and we'll look at them here in just a second, but I just wanted to stop real quick to I guess say thank you to those who bother watching the videos. You know, I don't really have much in the way of videos or content or followers or anything, but I have gotten more engagement, like more comments and responses and views on a few of my videos than honestly I would have actually expected. It's kind of cool to have people express interest in some of the stuff that I've shared. So thank you for engaging, thank you for responding, thank you for following, and all of that. So let me switch the camera around real quick and we can take a look at these two rifles and talk about some load carriage options for them. All right, ta-da-da-da. These are the subjects of today's video. The M1 Garand or Garand and the M1A. Now these two rifles are fairly exceptionally well known. I consider them sort of to be quintessential American rifles, right? The top is, like I said, an M1 Garand. I'd have to look up the serial number again. I do that every number of years because I always forget. But this was made sometime between 1941 and 1943, and if memory serves, was used in Europe. Now those dates could be wrong, but and I'm sure there are plenty of Garand specialists out there. Hopefully someone maybe that's watching can give me some details, and I know that there's certain markers and things you can look for, like the way that the op rod is tube or whatever this is called is made, and the front sight block and all that kind of stuff to know age and history. This the stock here is not original. I was given this as a gift when I was a teenager by my father for Christmas one year, which is a really cool Christmas gift. The stock unfortunately broke. Had to do with a big kaboom and then a split stock, and that's a story for another day. But I love this thing. I don't shoot it as much as I should. It functions and operates just fine. But yeah, it's fun. So, and then my M1A is an M1A Scout Squad. So that means it has the 18-inch barrel and that massive blast deflector, whatever the hell this thing's called. That thing's huge. but yeah, and of course it's got a polymer stock on it. I put some tape on the back for a cheek rest. It didn't really work out that well. I ended up taking it off, but it also pulled off some of the finish. The Scout Squad's got a nice thick shoulder pad here. I guess it helps with some with the recoil some, but honestly it's heavy enough that it handles that pretty well. The Scout Squad, of course, also comes with this Scout scope mount, the Picatinny rail, and the forward of the ejection port on the front part of the receiver here. And I have mixed feelings about it. Now, like I was saying, I have mixed feelings about the Scout scope. This is not a particularly expensive Scout scope. It's not one I would recommend, and it's not particularly nice. But it does the job well enough. I use this rifle for deer hunting. I know that there are lighter and better alternatives, but this is just what I use. I started deer hunting later in life, and I've taken 4 so far. And so this has done the job, both near and far. But the reason that I bought it, and you're going to maybe laugh a little bit, is because I wanted to be able to feed this rifle with stripper clips. I have a set of clips. I keep spare ammo in a bandolier, and I kind of wanted to be able to feed it from the clips. But as I've used the Scout scope, I've kind of come to the conclusion that it's really just not a great option. So I'm going to eventually either remove it entirely and just leave this iron-sighted, which is a possibility, or just get a traditional scope mount for it. So, and I do prefer wood stocks. I would like to put a wood stock on this, but the reason that I haven't, again, is because I intend to use it in field type applications, and honestly, a polymer stock, it just makes more sense. So, I think that I think the likelihood that I would ever really need load-bearing equipment for either of these is pretty low. The M1A, I suppose, is a little more common sense, just because I take it out in the field for hunting. But you know, I like to put things together for them anyway. Part of that's just because it's fun, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be grounded in some reality or anything like that. It's just fun to do. Part of it's because I kind of feel like, on principle, if you're going to have a rifle or a weapon, you should have a way to carry it and use it, and the accoutrements, if you will, that go along with that. And part of it's because I'm an American, damn it, right? Like, that's an okay answer for why I want to have load-bearing equipment for my weapons. So, let's talk for a minute about what your options would be, and I'm going to start with the M1 Garand. Fortunately, I think you can fairly easily develop one rig that'll support both with the addition of just a couple of pouches. But you know, what I've been wanting to do with the military surplus equipment that I have aggregated, that I've bought, is kind of figure out ways to use those pouches and stuff to support these weapons. So that's going to start with I'm going to start off with the M1 and see where that takes us. And I'm going to look at both MOLLE and Alice options. Now keep in mind, I'm not looking at dedicated options, meaning like purpose-built pouches. I'm looking at pouches that are already part of the MOLLE system or the Alice system that can support the M1. So let's start off there. It's a bit windy out here, I apologize. Hopefully it's not affecting the microphone too much. I think we're about to get a storm. So I kind of lied a little bit. I am going to start with something that's dedicated, purpose-built, and that is this this cartridge belt here. I actually don't know the model number or name or whatever, but this is obviously purpose-built for the M1. Let's see, carry 10 clips on it. So, and that's a decent amount of 30-06 to carry. I honestly think that that's should solve just about any problems that you or I might run into. The problem with this thing is that it was made to work with kind of an older hanger system, right? So you could hang first aid pouches or canteens or whatever off the bottom of this. And that's kind of hard to come by anymore. This is cool to have just as a piece of militaria, kind of historical, for historical purposes, but not necessarily useful in that regard. You could use it, but it's not as useful as other options. If you did want to wear this, note that it's got these grommets, so you could either use this or a repro, and you can hook either a Y or H harness right into it. Now with the Y harness, the front will hook in, you know, wherever is most comfortable for you on the front. The back, you've got a little problem though. Depending upon your girth, how wide your waist is, you know, that you're gonna start having problems reaching from here to here with the Y harness. So an H harness would probably really be better, but it'll do the job. Okay, so that's sort of option number one for ye old M1 Garand if you need to carry some ammo. But that's not always the best option. Let's take a look at a couple of others. One thing I forgot to mention on this is that, as far as I know, this is genuine USGI surplus. I bought it from a friend I worked with probably a decade ago. And I noticed it's got something stamped here that I can't read. It's just rubbed off. And then on the back, it has some red letters here. And I'm going to guess it's that, what is it called, that you typically see on surplus gear, like DRMO or DMRO, whatever that is, for gear that is being decommissioned and can be sold on private market. All right, let's move on to a couple of other options we have for the M1 Garand though. And let's start with Alice. Believe it or not, there is Alice equipment that works just fine to carry ammunition for the M1 Garand. The first aid compass pouch actually works just fine to hold. If I could pop the button up with one hand, holds two clips. And so the back one, if you were to really shove it in, you could probably get it flush with the first, but it tends to kind of sit a little bit higher, which is fine, honestly, because that just means you can get to it easier if you needed to pull it out for some reason. So this, I think, would be a really doable way to carry some M1 ammunition on an Alice pistol belt, right? So, and that's what I was getting at, is that I think it can be kind of multi-purpose. You have an Alice rig, you've already got a couple of rifle pouches on here, right? You slide those things to the side, and you add, you know, I don't know, 2 of these to each side, right? And now you've got the capacity to carry 8 M1 clips. It's plenty. It's perfect. Alternatively, these are some pretty cool pouches that I kind of wanted to share, and really ultimately is why I decided to do this video, I guess. These I found on either Venture Surplus or McGuire Surplus, and these are Israeli surplus M1 clip pouches. And so yeah, they're made for an older or different, slightly different system. They have these hooks here that presumably would hook into a suspender. And you can connect these to the hooks on the Y harness and just shorten up the Y harness if you really want to, right? If I was going to be using this a lot, I'd probably just snip this off. Because I really don't care to carry, you know, from the pouch like this. It's not like a triple magazine pouch for the AR where there's a ton of weight and I need to support the pouch directly. This would not really be a concern to me. Anyway, yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's got you know, buttons. It obviously supports the Alice clips. So you lift the button and it holds exactly one in-block clip right in there. Pretty neat. Like the 30 round pouches, it's got the grenade pouch on the side. It looks like we have something going on over here for a grenade or something, but it's a little different. There's, you know, it's not large like this is. So I don't know if the idea was to put the spoon or whatever through here and then strap it in. I'm not sure. Maybe one of you guys that's more familiar with those kinds of things can tell me. But these are pretty cool. I picked up a couple of them, and I don't remember it being very expensive. They feel like they're made of maybe cotton, so they're definitely older, but it's pretty cool. All right. Now, this sort of led to another question for me, which is if I've got that ammo, how am I going to carry a bandolier? Let's say I want a couple of bandoliers even. Well, it turns out a bandolier which holds 6 extra clips, once folded up, it's sort of like a zigzag, will fit in a 30 round magazine pouch. And that is exactly what I have in this one here. So we're going to pop it open, and voila, I have, see if I can pull it out with one hand. A little bit I can. You have to stuff it in there pretty good, but out it comes. Okay, so once again we see the versatility of a 30 round magazine pouch, and even a triple magazine pouch, right? This same use would apply for like if you have a MOLLE 30 round magazine pouch, you know, that's made to hold 3 AR mags. You could do the exact same thing. So there's just one other thing that this just happens to be pretty much a good dimension for. You can fit a bandolier in there. So, you know, on this one rig, you could carry, like I said, you know, a couple of blocks, in-block clips up front, and then a couple of bandoliers, and like you're golden, right? As far as this rig goes, it's not something I use terribly often. I kind of just have it hanging in my garage. A couple of things. There's really nothing fancy or notable here. The only notable things that I'll point out is, number one, this field pack is a M19. I don't know. Anyway, it's a field pack training, right? Which is from it predates the modern Alice system. It was meant to work with an H harness, right, which would clip in here and hold on to your suspenders there. Although this is also the pack that some of you may remember in another one of my videos. I was referring to a pack where you can hook it into the older suspenders on the shoulder up here, and then on the bottom you have straps here, which will go around the suspender straps, and you can wear it on your back. Doesn't work that well to me. I did make a modification on this. Typically the nylon straps come up through these keepers and you tighten down that way. I don't like that very much. So I bought a repair kit, Fastix repair kit, and I didn't want to make permanent modifications, right? Because this is surplus and I kind of like the idea of keeping it mostly original. So I got these through, took some working and some sore fingers, but I got these through the top here, and then the bottom I put these guys, and that made it very easy to just buckle everything together and get into. One other thing that's unique is this magazine pouch. You know, I've had a number of these throughout the years, and I'm not really sure what's special about this one, meaning I don't know if it's an older model, maybe it's from a, you know, predates Alice, maybe it was a, I don't know, it's just something that I've never seen before. It's a little bit taller, number one, than the typical Alice magazine pouches that I've seen. You can definitely tell that between these two. And number two, it's got an extra grommet for some reason. So typically, I've only ever seen on magazine pouches a grommet right here. But this one has a grommet up top. And I have no idea why. So I saw this at a surplus store and it caught my eye, and so I bought it, you know, for $5 or $10 or whatever it was. No idea why it's that way, but it's definitely unique. If anyone's watching this and you guys know, is there like a different generation of pouches that came out or something that I just don't know about? I'd love to know and hear your thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to transition real quick to MOLLE options for carrying M1 clips, and then we'll go on to the M1A after that. So stand by. All right. So there are two pouches here on the table. Over here we have a hand grenade pouch, and over here we have a flashbang pouch. I was hoping the flashbang pouch would work. When I finally got out and messed with it, it was obviously clear that it wouldn't, but I wanted to kind of show it to you, and just in case you have the same idea. It's certainly dimensionally wide enough, but it is just far too deep to hold clips. Yeah, so I mean, it's not something you can access quickly, so this is sort of not a good option. What is an okay option is this hand grenade pouch. The hand grenade pouch holds two comfortably. So this is similarly sized to the Alice first aid compass pouch, not quite as deep perhaps, which but it's a little bit wider. So they fit in here with, you can see there's a little space in between, right? So they fit in there with a little space. You could probably even turn them sideways, I bet, and fit them sideways. But I think this is probably a better way to carry them than that, only because they're not squished together as much, and there's actually space to get a couple fingers down in there and draw one out. Now, once you're down to a single, I don't think it's not wide enough for it to slide and fall really, so it's still going to be upwards, and so you can grab the second one. I think this would be a fantastic way to carry a couple of M1 clips. So again, you could do like what I did, you know, get yourself a flick vest, chuck the vest, keep the belt, and then toss a couple of these on there. I mean, these things are probably $1 a piece or something like that. And there you go. You've got a good way to carry some M1 clips on your belt. Okay, that's done. I just really only have one or two ways that I'd like to demonstrate carrying some M1A mags. So let's take a look at that, and then we'll be on our way. All right, we're back this time with the M1A, and let's start off with Alice again. So really, I think that there's only one magazine pouch that I'm aware of that is really sufficient for holding M1A mags, and that is just this pouch here. Same thing we were just using for the Bandoliers. Holds 3 AR mags, obviously, and it holds, like it was made for it, 2 M1A 20-round magazines. Check that out. So this is, again, a really useful pouch that'll hold a bunch of different things. The same could be said for any 30-round, gosh, I keep saying that. The same could be said for any triple magazine pouch, right? So my Tactical Tailor Universal magazine pouches, which are on my LBE that are in my other video that I did, go check that out. Those will hold the same, right? It'll hold 2 of them just like that. But those aren't the only pouches we can use for this. So let's move over to MOLLE real quick and talk about what you can do with the MOLLE pouches. All right, so here's a couple of MOLLE double magazine pouches, right? So this holds 2 double magazine pouches stitched together, so it holds a total of 4 AR mags. This is just a USGI UCP pattern double magazine pouch, holds 2 AR mags. Double magazine pouches will hold 1 M1A mag like they're meant for it. So if we take a look at this, for example, perfect. That's 1 M1A mag. And it fits in there, like I said, just like it was made to hold it. Just pretty cool. Same thing here. We have a double magazine pouch. Boom. This is made by Condor, I think. I bought this some time ago. I bought this because initially this rig, I had removed most of that Alice stuff off of it, and I had slimmed it down to something kind of specialized for this. So I had 2 of these on each side, and then, I don't know, whatever other, you know, canteen pouches and so forth. And I eventually just decided, you know, why am I doing that? You know, it normally doesn't live with those M1 Garand pouches on there. I'll take those off after I'm done with the video. But I realized, why am I doing that? You know, I'm taking up, to carry 8 mags, I'm taking up, you know, twice the space that I can with these pouches to hold 6. And 6 is enough. 6 is plenty. Or, I guess, 4, right? 4 M1A and, yeah. So it's the same, literally the same number for M1As, right? Because I'm going to have 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 on the other side, whereas I can have 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the same amount of magazines for an M1A, just twice the space on my belt. So no reason to do that. So I removed it, put those USGI pouches back on. I'm going to leave it like that. So yeah, you've got options. If you run in MOLLE, you can totally, you know, use these to store M1A mags, and it works just like it was meant to, you know, as though it was meant to do that. And maybe it was. I'd love to sit down one day with the guys at Natick or whoever, you know, designs these pouches and ask them during their product, you know, development cycle, was this a consideration, right? Was this something that they thought about? It has to have been, because they know that these weapons were in U.S. military stocks at the time. It's just out of curiosity. Or is this a happy, you know, just happy circumstance, right? Where we're just lucky that this happens to be the case. I can't imagine that it is. But either way. So, I guess that's just some information for you. I don't know. I've been messing around with this stuff for the last little while and thought that it would be kind of fun to do a video on. I don't know if you found it useful, interesting. If you have thoughts or comments or whatever, please comment and let me know what you're thinking. So appreciate your time, and we'll catch you with the next one, guys.